find it very hard to get a online corporate account. Now, I'm an owner of a Fintech license, which is an MSB license over in Canada. CCYFX.com. You can check it out. You can apply for an account today, but I'm not promoting those services today. I'm here as Will Hodgson from HPT, and I want to jump on very shortly, very briefly, just to actually really focus on a really important fact. Now, there are many fintechs out there. We can speak through 3S Money, Equals Money, iBank Tech, whatever it is, right? And at the end of the day, I've worked for Corpay, Ballinger Group, and Interpoly Money, all FCA regulated institutions in the UK. I understand the ins and outs of the fintech industry. And just to, if you guys don't know what it is, you've already got an offshore company, and you're looking for new banking rails or crypto on ramp, crypto off ramps, or additionally, you also just can't get a simple account. Now, the number one important question is to actually really focus on who you're dealing with. If for example, I see old business partners who've never even been to Hong Kong, who currently have a business in Hong Kong. They have no substance, nothing. That's going to be very hard to get an account for. I don't even think they have a bank account. So there's other people who say they live in Dubai. They've never even been to Dubai. They don't even hold an Emirates ID card or even a UAE Ajman company. There's various dirty tactics within the fintech industry, and I want to make that to light today. Okay, so there's two ways of dealing with banking, and that is private banking or traditional banking and fintech. So the difference is the business models are completely different. This business model over here, which is the private banking, high street banking, simply makes money from your money. So usually they require a nice minimum deposit, whether it's with EFG in Monaco or NatWest International in Guernsey or Gibraltar, whatever, right? They make money from your money. So they usually require you to hold funds, X, Y, Z. Now, over here on the fintech side, we, as I'm obviously a fintech owner, we make money from moving money. So we obviously charge FX rates, inwards, outwards potentially, depends on the deal that was actually structured and agreed upon. Additionally, on-ramp, off-ramp, that's what actually goes on with fintech, right? So it's a clear definition between two different business models within banking, but typically we see fintechs, market themselves as banks because, well, before Revolut just got their new license, what a great transition that was. Saw it coming as well. I've really been up to date with the Revolut funding rounds, XYZ, and you always thought it was Revolut or Wise as a bank. You'd say, hey, my bank's just gone and questioned my payment or something, right? No, it is not a bank. It is an electronic money institution or an e-money account, right? And that is very different to private banking. You really have to look in depth at the fintechs of where your money is actually held, whether it's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 or tier 4 banking institutions. For example, we see Kingdom Bank. They are a licensed bank over in Dominica, but they provide SEPA payments, CHAPS payments, FPS payments, and ACH payments as well, I believe, top of my head, as well as crypto on-ramp and crypto off-ramp, but they provide them through their fintech licenses, if that makes sense. So it's a really big distinction. Also onboarding nowadays is very tricky. You have to really select your fintech wisely, I would like to say. And a fintech that's used to high risk, e.g. I'll drop a CCYFX link in the link below, or you can search CCYFX.com. We're happy to entertain a conversation. If we can't onboard you ourselves, we will go to our other partners. But please be careful who you are dealing with online, especially if you're just applying for fintech accounts. Usually, a lot of these new companies, just look at their history, look at where they used to work, especially just read their website. You'll see some differences between they say on their website this, and they actually, if you look at their LinkedIn, they're most likely working behind a bar 2 years ago or something, right? Fintech's a very interesting industry. You can come into it as broker with basically no barrier to entry. The same as actually offshore consulting technically. So really be careful who you're dealing with out there, because most likely they're not experts in the industry. I work with some fantastic companies who are experts, BG Advisors, for example. Myself also, I've gone and worked for 3 fintechs myself and now own a fintech myself. So I would just, say I'm pretty clued up with the fintech knowledge, having been licensed myself. And there's other partners out there as well, but it depends really what your business is or what you're trying to onboard. what facilities you need, what volume you are doing, what FX currencies you're doing, whether you want a merchant account or a traditional IBAN account, right? Whether you need, those, it depends really what you need, and that's a fintech which you go for. Potentially, you have to go for multiple and have multiple fintech accounts, which I always recommend coming at it at HPT, being very diversified between many accounts, and then obviously having a holding company that is with a private banking institution, EFG Monaco, UBS, NatWest International, Barclays Wealth in Monaco as well. There's many institutions out there. Again, you can obviously book a meeting with me for free. I'm not in a need for too much business. I've gone and grown, as you'll be seeing. I'm going to be disclosing the wealth that we've actually grown over recent years through different equity stakes and different ventures. And it's just really, really interesting to see some parties come online and have basically minimal knowledge. But other than that, guys, over and out, and I'll see you in the next video.